It was nice to get an introduction. I don't have to introduce myself then. But yeah, my name is Francesc. I'm a senior machine learning engineer at the LEGO Group. And much like the presenter before, I will also be talking a bit about some learnings we had in the data office, so the data science products that I work with, and basically talk about what is the two products where we apply computer vision, machine learning, natural language processing. Just a quick question, maybe to heat it up a bit. How many of you have children here? Raise your hands. Wow, thank you. How many of you know about the application LEGO Live?
My son is very fond of LEGO. Actually, he has made a lot of models.
Well, thank God, at least I have two of my colleagues here that I know they know about the app, so I know there would be at least 2 hands, but it's good to see 5 of them. So because I was expecting not many people to know about what LEGO Live is, I took a very nice video from YouTube, which I hope it works, so then I don't have to explain it myself. So we're just going to use a minute for it.
Kids that's full of stuff parents can feel good about. This crew makes sure your child's identity is always protected. No real names or faces allowed here. We've got tons of great stuff to keep your kids entertained. Here's where we invent challenges that get kids to put down their devices and build.
Hey, how about a spaceship challenge?
These moderators personally review every image before it's shared. We also help kids express themselves with LEGO Life emoticons. They're safe, supportive, and fun.
We're gonna need more hearts and stars down here. Oh, and donuts, too.
And in here, LEGO characters encourage kids to keep building. That'll motivate them. LEGO Life, the new app for kids that's full of stuff parents can feel good about. Download it today.
I hope you didn't mind the marketing campaign here, not trying to sell anything just yet. But if we focus on some of the features that I want you to understand from the video that I just presented, it's, well, no PII. I guess it's clear. We are talking about children in this case, right? We don't want your kids to be in danger online, and we all know that the internet is a dangerous place. So your name is going to be Captain Silly Pants instead of Francesc. And that's, I think it's a better name as well. It's more suitable for the application. All the content that your kids will publish on the application before they go live to be seen by everywhere in the world. They will pass through moderation to make sure that the pictures are okay, the text is also suitable, and the videos are also fine. And at the end of the day, I mean, who doesn't like Batman in LEGO, right? I love the LEGO Batman movie. So I would also love that he also talks about his sweet apps in my build, right? And today what I will focus on is in these 2 parts, which is the 2 products that we actually have built, and the ones that I hope to give some key takeaways in the things that we did, the things that didn't work, and what we have learned from this. So if we start with content moderation, how does the content moderation flow look like today? So as a user on the LEGO Live app, and the 5 people in the room that know, you have your LEGO sets, you build your LEGO sets, and then you can take a picture. And then with this picture, you can also put some title and description, which we will leave out of this conference because it's not computer vision, and I guess you are not interested about it. But then what happens then is that once you click Submit on the LEGO Live app, this will get submitted or sent to the backend service, which is basically a database. And before this is then shown in the application itself, it passes through the LEGO Police. So the LEGO Police is a set of human beings, like all of us in here, and they will review every single piece of content like you saw in the video before to say, okay, this image is fine, this title is fine, and if it's fine, well, congratulations, now you are on the LEGO Live app with your submission. If it's not fine, then they will mark it as bad, and the user will get a message saying, your upload is not good because this and that. Try to resubmit, and if it's very severe, then we also escalate it. So then we came here and we said, what can we actually do to make this process a bit better, right? So back in the day, so LEGO Live started in 2016, and from 16 to 19, which is when we come into play, a lot of the the top 3 categories that were the main rejection reasons for content was actually bad quality and people and images. And I mean, I guess all of you here know bad quality, so blurry images. If you have studied a bit of computer vision, it's relatively straightforward to fix with computer vision or machine learning. And identifying people and images, you can do that anywhere, right, with any sort of algorithm. So we came with the idea of, well, let's just put an AI moderation service, call it AI, because this way you get the business approval as well. So that makes it even better, you know. So what we did here is, between the database and the Lego Police, we put our service. It's an AI service working in the cloud in AWS. And what this does is some sort of pre-filtering, right? So we have trained some detectors, some models based on these top categories that we know we can handle with the data we have at hand and with the problem we have at hand. So if the AI service says, well, this is bad, we automatically reject it, right? But because we do not support all of the rejection categories that exist in the manual environment, if we approve, then the process goes like it was before, right? So in a way, you can see this AI set up as being a pre-filter, saying, okay, well, you know, this is so obvious that it's bad, just get on with it, right? Like blurriness, people in images. If I say the F word, I don't need a human to validate the F word, right? Yeah. So a bit of history into where we started, where we are at the moment. So we started in the early 2019, as I said. We started as a proof of concept, as many others also mentioned here. So, you know, start small, grow after. And we said, okay, well, one of the top categories of rejection is bad quality images. Well, I know bad quality image is a black image is bad. A very bright image is bad. A very pixelated image is bad. I know how to handle those with computer vision. So we just applied an AI setup where we just say, okay, you know, blurry, not blurry. It cannot get any simpler than that, right? It actually went incredibly well in the beginning. So in the late 19, so the dates are also a bit fuzzy, right? We were allowed to go live. So all the content from the actual Lego Live application would be routed through us to get this blurriness classification. And then if it was not blurry, then it would go directly to the manual moderators. This also allowed us to then increase the number of detectors. And then we continued with the person detector because I guess the main expertise of our team is also in the computer vision field. We are still playing around with the NLP part. 2020, growing phase. This is where text and the comment fields from the Lego Live application come into play, and we start doing some basic filtering as well. We also include video moderation, which is not in Lego Live, it's another application. Just for disclosure, it's not video moderation as a video, but it's just frame, because we did not find the need to do the temporal analysis as well together with the frame analysis. Then in 2021, this is where I guess the big change happens. So up until this point in time, we were basically an add-on to the Lego Live service. So basically we were fully coupled to what Lego Live was, which meant if we wanted to support other experiences coming in the Lego environment, it actually was very difficult for us because we needed to do a lot of changes in our code, in our infrastructure. It was a pain, basically. So in this point, we decided we're just taking our moderation setup, moving it away. It's our own thing. You use us as an API. And this is how it's been since then. And this has actually allowed us to open this API to all the experiences that are coming. And spoiler alert, there's a lot of experiences coming along, also for adults, very soon. And then so after doing this decoupling thingy, in late 21, we were finally seen as the actual go-to moderation service in the Lego group. So it took a year for people to actually respect us in a way. But this also meant that, today we are supporting 8 digital Lego experiences with different kinds of user-generated content. We are expanding more categories. We're trying to generate more detectors based on the different experiences needs as well. And at all points in time, because we control everything in this architecture, we also want to make this as cheap as possible and as fast as possible, right? Now, going into the details of, is this actually something that you want to use, right? Well, if we think about the benefits of having an AI or a CV or a machine learning product supporting your moderation needs in this case, or your user-generated content processing, well, it's faster. And it's not because I work on it, but that I will say it's faster. But so the SLA we have with the manual moderators, they have a 15-minute range to moderate. I think on average they take between 7 to 9 minutes. It's something around those lines. In our case, images get moderated, like a pack of images get moderated in less than 10 seconds, comments in less than 1 second, and videos in between 30 seconds to 1 minute, depending on how big they are. It's also, another benefit is, well, if I know that a blurry image is a blurry image, and I know that the F word is an F word, I don't need to pay anybody to tell me that the F word is bad. I already know it, right? So we are also reducing external costs, because the moderation company is external to us, for these simple situations. I don't need somebody to tell me that the F word is bad. We can also support new experiences. Just give them an API key, give them our Swagger page, they can just plug and play. It's as simple as that. And yeah, similar scalability. We also experienced this at the start of the pandemic. I guess all of you with children know the children went isolated home, so they had a lot of time to play with the phones, I assume, and we had a lot more content than we were used to. And we managed, so there was no delays. Everything worked as expected, which is good for us. And just for you to get an insight into what actually is moderating in our setup compared to the whole. So in 2019, when we started only with the blur detector, we were rejecting, I think, 3% of all the rejections happening in Lego Live were done by us. Today, I think we're a bit higher than that value, because this is an image from last year, but we are around the 20% of rejections. So if there's 100 rejections in this month, 200 of those are made by us. I think I got the number right, yes. So some key takeaways, and I think the previous speaker also said basically the same. So start small, try to tackle the problems that you can tackle in a blink of an eye, in a way, right? And start from there, because when you start, you need to first show that there's value in what you're doing. You need to show that, look what I can do. Isn't it amazing? And the smaller you start, the better you can define the problem, and the better you can then make a solution, right? And also, I think in many conferences that I've also been before, they always talk about AI as a future, AI is going to take over the world, we are not going to do anything, we're just going to sit in our sofas, and AI is going to solve everything for us. I see it more in the way, let AI be a supportive tool for what you do. So let AI take the boring and the easy things, and let the humans also in the loop. And working together is actually much stronger as well. I also have 3 years in production, so 3 key learnings. And yeah, so we are in production, like the guy from Label Box yesterday. So today I'm presenting the project, if he's here. One of the challenges, well, many of you maybe also come from academia. I come from academia. Academia is amazing. Data sets are amazing. Papers are amazing. Everything is state of the art. That's not the real world. Unfortunately, it is not the real world. And here I also have one example, like you did before. We were experimenting with BERT, if you know BERT, for natural language processing, the model, to try to do a toxic classification on the comments for Lego Life specifically. So BERT, huge model, millions of parameters, millions of corpora ingested into it. What's the problem here? It was trained with data from the internet, where 99.9% of the people are adults. We do not speak the same as children do. So we got the model, we put it in, we trained the new head, we get some features, we retrained. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't matter what we did. We improved the processing, the text processing, we changed the model, we do it again, and over and over and over again. I think it took 6, 9 months, and we said, you know what, it's never gonna work. Let's just stop it here. So I think it's also important that you try things out, but you also know when to stop, right? Because even though you didn't succeed, you at least learned something, hopefully, right? Second challenge, I think, since 2019, where we started, to today, Lego life has evolved, people evolve, society is a living organism, right? Like what was true 20 years ago, I mean, nobody had a cell phone, now everybody has a cell phone, and maybe in 20 years, nobody has a cell phone because it's in our brains or something like that, I don't know. So you need to make sure that whatever it is that you build with the knowledge that you have today can be updated as easy as possible with the changes that come in the future. Because if your system is too static, it is too hard to change, it's just going to be devaluated over time instead of increasing in value over time. And the last thing that I think is also quite important to know is that whenever you want to tackle something with computer vision, machine learning, you name it, try not to say, well, a human could do this like that, because you are not going to be able to train a machine like a human, right? But rather try to split the tasks into chunk pieces and then say, well, let's do A. If A is this, then do B, C, and D, right? Because if you say, well, a human can moderate images, text, and video in one eye, yeah, sure. I mean, then just keep the human if you don't want to spend more time on that. Yeah. And then I'll go to the second, which I guess is what everybody's waiting for, so seeing Batman in action. And this process is also very correlated. So we have now moderated the content that has been thumbs up, which is, I will say, the vast majority of it. Don't be afraid. Will get published into the Lego Life app. And for those of you that don't know the Lego Life app, so the interface, I guess, looks a lot like Instagram, right? So you have a feed, you will see posts, and you can do likes and comments, clicking on the buttons that you see on the screen, right? So that allows children to interact with each other as well. Now, it is the Lego group, right? We need to make this fun. We are not just Instagram, right? So wouldn't it be amazing, if you post your favorite Star Wars? I'm a big Star Wars fan. I would build a huge AT&T, and then, this guy comes and likes my upload. I mean, that would be pretty cool. So imagine, if it's cool for me, I think it's also pretty cool for children, right? Which is the target audience for this, of course. And this does happen. So how does this happen? We have a team in the Lego group called Consumer Engagement. Maybe. They are consumer engagers. So this is human beings, again, that will go into the Lego Life app on a daily basis as part of their job, and they will say, oh, look, that's a pretty nice image of Ninjago Lloyd. I think it's Lloyd. And they will say, well, that's a pretty nice picture. I'll just go and log in as the NPC Lloyd, and I will send a like, a comment, or both. Oh, look, a happy user. Perfect. Now, I don't know about you, but I would not find this job very exciting to have to scroll through. I do scroll through Facebook and Instagram many hours during my day, but it's not because I'm forced to. So I don't think this is the most exciting job in the world. I would rather have this person in consumer engagement actually engage with the consumers that have maybe issues with some products, right? So, of course, we added AI into the product, and we also named it AI, because then, the value is even better. So what happens again is that, well, in the AI setup, we get all of these uploads that come to Lego Live, which is, again, then we have set up this AI engagement service that we call, that does image and text classification. So we get the image, and then with a combination of text processing, we extract the most probable theme, because also, again, we are the Lego group. We should know our Lego themes, right? Well, yes, we do. Then the service will impersonate the NPC, because it's through an API. I just log in as Batman, and I will send likes and comments, and the output is exactly the same. But I didn't need to have a human being in the loop, because the NPC, at the end of the day, is not real. So why would I need to have a human confirm that I need to interact with this via a human being, right? Children love it anyway. I will say it was not a path of roses. I don't know if that is a saying. Maybe I just translated it from Spanish. But this project started as being a request where LEGO Live team wanted us to have a model capable of getting the theme, which is what we do, but then to add this as a tag into the post as metadata fields, because then they could do some groping in the app and so on and so forth, because there's the tags, they are already available in the application, but children don't know how to use them. So we tried, we built a model, the model was too big, then we built the model again, it was small, but it wasn't working well, and we tried a couple of things, it never worked, and then we said, well, this is not going to work because you are asking me to deliver you a model of, I think it was like 20 kilobytes that they were asking for a model, and it was like, well, I can just go in manually and do it for you if you want. I think that's easier. So what we did is, we changed it over. We said, well, we have a theme detector. We're just going to do engagement. And apparently, it seemed to be actually a success story, because children love this. They love getting a like. They love getting a comment from Emmett, from Star Wars, from Chewbacca, from Kai, from all of their favorite LEGO characters. And you can see this because they react into it. They take screenshots on their phone, and they post that interaction back. So we actually get a lot of feedback from them that they want more of this. So what are the benefits then of this engagement? I guess it's already a bit obvious, but so in 2019, 2020, when we were not in the loop yet, it was manual, as I showed before, and when the pandemic hit, we got 10 times as much content as we used to. And a human is a human being. They spent a small time liking and commenting, so they were only able to interact with like 3% of all the content uploaded. By adding the engagement setup, we have managed to interact with all the content, no matter how much we get. If we get one post, we like the post. If we get 10,000, we probably like 80% of it. That also depends on how the stakeholder wants it. So I think, some key takeaways here again, it's, well, try to automate these repetitive tasks, these boring tasks. I mean, if you think of a task that like I said, would any of you like to be sitting in front of a computer, scrolling through a children's application to like and comment things with different NPCs? It's not the most exciting job, I think. So it's good that you then can involve computer vision and machine learning in this case. And I think it's also important to see, they came to us with this issue, we don't know what the LEGO themes people are building are. And then we're like, okay, we cannot give you this information, but let's engage with the users instead. So turn it around. And now maybe a lot of you here are from the business perspective, right? And you'll be like, yeah, well, sending likes and comments, you are making no money out of this. It's true, we're not making any money. But if we think about 2021, we sent 275,000 likes and 35,000 comments to children in 26 countries. And this is not value, yes. But if we think about the human beings that were before there, spending, I said on average 15 seconds. I have not done the test of how long it takes. I'm fairly sure it takes a bit more. I saved these employees 54 working days of their lives having to scroll through an application to give likes, right? I think it's pretty good. And I guess let's not forget the human part of this, right? Because I like appraisal, and children love appraisal. It doesn't matter if it's from the parents, from the friends, from an NPC, from Lego Batman. They love it, and they need it, right? Because that's how you also grow as a person, right? So make sure that you give them positive reinforcement. You are also making them willing to come back to the application because they have a good experience, and that is the most important thing for us, right? So sometimes it's not just about the money. It's about making sure that you are making something good for the world. And I think some of the talks yesterday as well were very focused on that, right? And remember that whatever you do with AI, ML, whatever technology that is on the rise, make sure you understand that it can have a positive influence if done right. So final wrap up, because I need to summarize both products at the same time. And again, the previous presenter, he did most of the job for me here, so I'll just be very quick. And also yesterday it was talked about this. If you communicate with the data team, let's call the data team, make sure that you do it when you are still in the design phase, because the later we come in play, the more difficult for us it is to integrate, because maybe you have already a running product, the product is working perfectly fine, and then you say, well, let's just automate A. Okay, but to automate A, I need to remove this, this, and that. And then the product can maybe have downtime. There can be a lot of issues coming, so because maybe the data is not ideal, maybe the payloads are not as they should be, and a lot of things can go wrong, and we experience that. So if you want something automated, make sure that you understand that the automation is needed also as soon as possible. I think another interesting point is a lot of people go around, and this is a lot in academia as well, oh yeah, I just want to apply some AI and computer vision because it's super cool. It is super cool, I agree. Otherwise, I would not be here speaking now and working on this, but I don't think this is going to sell very well to business stakeholders. And it didn't work for us yet, so we needed to prepare a bit longer of a reason. And yeah, exactly as before, the value we delivered, for example, in the moderation setup, we started with one detector doing one simple thing. The value was probably minus because you had to pay our paychecks. But over time, you will make sure that this product keeps on growing, keeps on improving. It's also a very hot topic with, around MLOps as well. So making sure that the cycle goes around and around, making sure that the product becomes better and better, and that's what's important here. Don't try to build the whole house in one day. Start from the foundations, and you will get the house at the end. That was it. I hope you are still all awake. And if you want to know anything more technical, I have 2 colleagues with me today. And you can also find an amazing podcast online where I talk about the actual implementation, if anybody is interested. Thank you. Do you have 3 questions?
Thanks, Francesc. Great presentation. I'm going to steal some of what you showed for my next one for sure. But just maybe a quick question on the reputational impact. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that your moderation algorithm, there's a mistake. Something goes on.
Yeah.
Goes on to the feed that shouldn't go on. How do you deal with that?
So this happened actually. I think it was last year where some content got through, and it was reported by one of the users on the application. But of course, then you already know that the impact was already there. But then what you try to do is contain, because so Lego Life is a global app, but it is per region, right? So if you upload content on the London or in the English version, that content is not seen in the Danish version, for example. So what we did some containment, and then we also provided some support as well for the children that saw that. And so that is also handled by the team that is sending likes and comments. So they are the ones also supporting that our customers do not get dissatisfied.
And just as a follow-up, how do you close the loop then on what went through and shouldn't have? What do you do from a product perspective?
In our product specifically, we don't do anything. That is more on the business side of things, because it went through the AI, because we didn't have a detector for that specific piece, and it went through the manual moderation. So then it is, of course, a flag that needs to be raised with the manual moderation company, because that is, of course, it's a penalty, right? So it should never be allowed. But, we are all human. We are 99% correct all the time, right? Yeah, but they also have much more content, right? I think the difference is that in our case, so for the Lego Life specific case, for us, by law, we need to have pre-moderation. So before the content is live, it needs to be moderated. But Facebook can do it the other way around. They can have post-moderation. And it's the same in Reddit, for example. It's also post-moderation and user reporting, right? That works best. So, yeah.
Thanks for the talk. You gave a nice example about how you adapted BERT, or how BERT didn't work for content rejection. I was wondering if you could give a similar example on the imaging side. So not just like rejecting blurry images, but how do you adapt like image content filters, what worked and what didn't? And also what do you train on? Do you create any sort of curated Lego style examples or?
Yeah, so what makes the moderation setup special and why we don't just buy it out of the box, like for example from Amazon Web Services where we have everything, it's because the content, it's very Lego specific. So one of the very typical cases that we always show is that we have a person detector. So if you take a Lego build and you take a selfie, that's not allowed because your face is not allowed because I could recognize you, right? What issue we had with, like, let's say we tried YOLO, for example, as one of the first models we tried, and we also tried the vanilla ResNet 50. The problem was that if you know about Lego, we have this chain Lego Friends, which is the mini dolls that they look very human-like, and those were always false positives. So we needed to actually go actively to get a data set where the negative class was mostly these minifigures, right? And that actually improved the results a lot. In case of BERT, we tried it out of the box and used it as a feature extractor because we did not have enough text data to actually train that big boy. But the problem I think we realized is that our text processing, so the cleaning stage, was not good enough because if you go into the Lego Live app, at least in the moderator view, they love masking words. And I think BERT had a tough time with that as well.
You mentioned with the generating the comments, how are those generated to ensure that they would pass moderation or that sort of thing?
Well, we cheat. We use a pre-moderated endpoint. No, but the comments we use, so they are made by the consumer engagement team that I showed before. So they have, so we have 3-4 levels of comments. So we have like super basic comments that says cool, nice, sort of the thing. We have other comments where we adapt them a bit more. So if I identify Star Wars, then I will say, that's a very nice Star Wars build. And then if you mention the NPC, we will also say, thanks for tagging me, and things like that. So it's not that we go full-on text generation. Not yet. At least we are not there yet.
I was thinking that you use text generation. So in your application, when you use the text generation, do you also concern about something like ethical content and moral content because it is directly linked to the children? So how do you implement this bit in your application?
What, sorry?
I mean the ethical and the moral.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a very big team of lawyers after us, in a good and in a bad way, every now and then. So what we try to do is the false positives are a no-go in our application, no matter what. So every time we train models with the data at hand, we always try to also set up higher confidence thresholds as well. So an image will not be blurry unless it is above, let's say, 90 percentile, for example. And then there can be different levels based on the application at hand. But for the children application, a false positive is a no-go. We can be wrong about saying that this is good, but we can never be wrong about this being bad because of their image and reputation, of course.
Thank you for the good presentation. You mentioned that you provide seamless integration and scalability. Could you elaborate on that?
Could I elaborate, you said? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you achieve
Yes,
it?
so on the moderation setup, everything is hosted in Amazon Web Services at the moment, and it's as a user as a client you integrate through our APIs, and then everything is deployed using lambdas at edge and low latencies. Everything is also orchestrated in a step function. The models are warm loaded into the lambdas as well, cold loaded into the lambdas, so that we try to reduce as much as possible latencies, right? Because of bad internet connection, for example. What we also know is, the Lego group, we are almost all in the same region in AWS, which means also, I think the latencies also are reduced in this case. So this is how we actually enable this.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I would like to ask you about security, because you are receiving a lot of image and you are putting in the database. Do you have any tools to avoid, for example, adversarial attacks, or maybe if someone put metadata in the image?
Yeah, and I think in that sense we are a bit shielded because we are not the owners of the data. So the data comes to us through the database, which is Lego Live's database, and we would assume that they do something to prevent, let's say, as you say, a corrupted image that could break the whole thing, right? But at the same time, we've also been doing some tests on that actually, and the Python package Pillow prevents loading corrupted images as well by default, which it was very nice for us to discover. And in terms of storing the data, so we store data in NoSQL databases, and we store data in S3 buckets, and everything is also with retention policies that gets erased because we don't want to have anything to do with the data. It's not our data, and it needs to be GDPR compliant as well.
Cool. And I know that AWS has some tools to check the performance of the model. Are you applying some of that tools on production?
Not from AWS specifically. So what we do, so we have also implemented like a shadow testing environment. So we have, let's say, the blur detector running, and then we have a shadow of the blur detector. If we have trained a new model, then they both will be running in parallel. And then with this way, it's some sort of A/B testing, right? But it's a shadow testing. Then this way we can actually compare whether the newly trained model based on these new features can be better than the previous one, and so on and so forth. So these metrics then get collected, and we store them currently in an observability tool. Yeah. No more questions? Otherwise, I'll be around, and my two colleagues, they are also very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.